Everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. We told you last week that we were going to make some pickle for Christmas and things like that. So just because zucchinis are super cheap at the moment, we thought that we'd make some zucchini relish. So I've washed up these two zucchinis. One, well, I don't know how much they weigh, but they're big, that much. And I've chopped up an onion, medium-sized red onion. You're going to use a white onion, it doesn't matter, I've just got a red onion, that's all, I've just got lots of it. And normally I'd use red capsicum because the colour stays really well in a pickle or a relish, but I haven't got any, so I'm just going to use as much as I've got, and I've got a little bit of yellow capsicum. So I took the I don't know what that's called, I'm going to call it the spine. Take that out, don't put the seeds in there, and just chop it up uniformly. Okay, and we're going to chuck it all in here, and all I'm going to do is grate. So we've grated everything up. Look at those gorgeous colours. Okay, they won't remain like that. Just throwing that out there, they won't remain like that, but they will taste good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add, it says to add a cup of sugar. I'm going to make it just a little bit less, maybe 3/4 of a cup. 3/4 of a cup, and don't pack it down. There we are, of brown sugar. I've used brown sugar, no reason really. It just seems to have a different flavour, a slightly deeper flavour, maybe? Okay. If you've got white sugar, use white sugar. Now also, you could use white vinegar. I use apple cider. Just because I like the flavour, it just adds a different flavour to it. And I'm going to add, for that amount of veg, I think I'm going to add all of it, okay, into there.
About a cup?
Yep, that was a cup. So 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar I added, and a cup of cider vinegar. Actually, I may need to add a little bit more. I'll let you know. It's always a work in progress. You need to get your jars ready, okay? Get your jars ready. And you make sure that you've got lids that fit properly when you do your jars. So give them a wash. Make sure your lids are clean and that they've got no marks on them, and that they haven't like rusted or anything like that. If they have, they're no good. So I've got my jars here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the jars, just the jars, into a warm oven. So I've already got it on just bake, and it's at 50 degrees just to be able to heat these through to kill any bacteria. Okay, it's good practice. Hot jars, hot food, hot lids, it seals better and it'll make it clean and it'll last longer because it's sealed properly. Okay, so see you soon. Jars are in the oven warming. I've added another ½ a cup of white vinegar. Now you can use malt vinegar as well. You can use whatever sort of vinegar you want. This is just what I had in the cupboards. So I'm going to start cooking this off and then just bring this up to a steady, warm sort of boil, if that makes sense. Okay, not a really strong boil, but just to enough to start cooking it. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to select some of the spices that I've got in here. So I use celery seed, mostly because it looks pretty and it does taste good. And again, mustard seed because it looks cool. Yeah, creature of what a vain person. And turmeric for colour, okay, and flavour. So that's what I'm going to be using to flavour my pickle. So let me heat this up, and then I'm going to put a teaspoon of each into a cup with maybe 2 tablespoons of corn flour. Okay, so meet me back here in a few minutes. It's just starting to like steadily cook, nothing too over the top. Okay, and did I tell you that I added a little bit more vinegar?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I've added a heaped teaspoon of celery seeds, a heaped teaspoon of mustard seeds, and I'm going to add a heaped teaspoon of turmeric straight into the pot, so that all those flavours can. Okay, So this is a perfect time, I'm going to turn it down a little bit, to try it, okay? Just try it. Doesn't need salt, doesn't need a little bit more sugar, and do it to your taste. Tastes great. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to this, okay? Yeah, a little bit of salt. That should be good. So I'm going to let this cook off for another 10 minutes, and then we'll thicken it up. In the meanwhile, the jars are in the oven. I've got my pot lids in a pot here, ready to boil up. Hello, Ayo. Ready to boil up, and then so that everything will be ready. Remember, hot food, hot jars, hot lids. Okay, makes everything as clean as possible, and everything will seal properly. I've got my 2 tablespoons of heaped tablespoon of corn flour here. I may not need it all. I'm just going to add bits and pieces to it, and then I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar here just to stir it up and so that it becomes a paste. Okay, some vinegar, which probably about 1/4 cup of vinegar to it, just to make it liquid. Okay, this is a corn flour, and this is what I'm going to use to thicken my relish. Now, you know, you can add all sorts of things. Pickles, relishes are so forgiving. You can use anything that you've got in your fridge. Tomato relish has got to be the easiest flipping relish ever, just like this is. You can add things like a whole kernel corn to it. You could add cauliflower to it. It's, yeah, good stuff. And you know, when your zucchinis, your gorgeous little zucchinis, turn into massive marrows, perfect time to pickle them. Okay, so everything's cooked up pretty well. There we go. We've got lots of liquid.
So good.
It totally does. And I've tasted it. It's good. I added a little bit of salt to it because that's my preference. Whatever you decide is yours. And then I'm just going to thicken it up. Go slowly, because we don't want to turn it into glue. Okay, and that's all I'm going to add. So there, I've got that much left over. This is where you need to be pretty organised, okay? Because it's so don't be interrupted by anybody on the phone. My jars have come out of the oven. They're nice and hot, which means that they're sterile. There's no bugs in them. Well, it's killed everything off. My relish is bubbling away beautifully, and it's thick. There we go. It looks great. My lids are done. Okay, so I'm going to turn everything off, and I'm going to just jar it up. So let's see. So we just made a little wee batch for the sake of you guys, you fellas out there.
Yous fellas.
You fellas. I even scraped off the covers to the jars to make them look pretty. Okay, these are great for the store cupboard as well. Fantastic for the store cupboard. So realistically, it's probably cost. And remember, you know, even though it costs you about $2 for your spices and things, it's going to last you for ages, and you can make pickle or relish in bulk. So now that I've done that, I have got a clean wet cloth, and I'm going to wipe the rim. You wipe the rim so that none of the pickle or the relish is on the rim, and it helps the jar seal onto the rubber bit on your lid. If you have a look here, that's rubber. Okay, so now it's really soft rubber. Okay, pop it onto your hot clean jar, and in about an hour or two you'll hear it pop. Okay, so when it cools down, it'll suck in the top so that pops down. Okay, and it'll seal it. That means that your relish will last for probably a good couple of years. So it won't last that long in our family, never does. Okay, start keeping your jars, because in another 2 or 3 months' time, we're going to be getting into bottling season. That's when your peaches come online and your plums, and this is a perfect time to start hoarding your jars so that you don't have to hit the second-hand stores. Okay, cut out a piece of a round circle out of a piece of brown paper. Now reuse things like your grocery bags, whatever you've got, because they look pretty, you know, like
Rustic, yeah.
rustic, whatever you want to call it. The size of this jar took a small pot lid, okay, to cover. That goes right on top, and I've got a piece of Hessian string that I'm going to just tie up. And then you can attach a note, a really cute note like, we relish your friendship. Or if you're in a pickle. Okay, so yeah, so that's pretty much it for the day. There's our zucchini relish. Super easy, okay? It's a no-brainer, so don't lose sleep over these sort of things. Use what you've got at home and experiment with different flavours as well, okay? And share your ideas. We love hearing your ideas as well. So next week, because tomatoes are coming online, let's make some tomato relish because it's super uber easy, okay? That's it. Have a great day. Ka kite anō.